Welcome to another episode of Aero World, What It's Like, where weekly we'll be sitting down with some of the most influential people in SA and some of your loved celebrities. Today is a very special show. Let me just give you guys a quick rundown of Aeronautica as a brand. It is an Italian fashion brand based on Italian army, the aviation side of it, that is. So today we've got a very special guest in studio. We've got none other than the pilot extraordinaire and lover of all things aviation. We are joining us today is Tace Smit. How are you doing?
I'm good, and how are you?
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for
my
having
brother.
me.
Yeah, man. Let's just jump straight into it. Aviation. Being a pilot, we know it's one of those difficult careers to get into. It takes a whole lot of hard work, sweat, and hours into it. How did you actually get into aviation?
So for me, it started from a young age. My dad was a pilot, actually, and
Wow.
I think being around in and around airplanes, growing up, just made the option easy, and it's always been something I wanted to do.
Wow.
So
Okay. So to take us through it, like how long did you have to study into becoming a pilot? I know it's one of those careers like it's right up there with like being your lawyer or doctor. Some of the most difficult careers to get into. What has that journey been like for you?
no, so I started straight out of school. So I started at a flying academy in Pretoria, Wonderboom Airport. And so you just do your private pilot's license, which is about 45 hours total. And then you progress from there, do a night rating that enables you to fly at night. And then to get your commercial pilot's license, you need 200 flying hours total. So there you just build hours. So you go fly and then
Okay.
you build up experience. And then you test for your commercial pilot's license. And with all this, you do a lot of subjects. So it's about 10 subjects that you have to complete, which is air law, met,
Yeah.
everything about the weather, and aircraft technical and general flight planning, navigation. So you do all those subjects, and the pass mark is about 75%.
Jeez.
That's a little bit higher than
Yeah.
the average, but
Yep.
now I think a doctor and a lawyer will disagree with us that it's not that difficult. But after your subject's completed, then the hard part is actually finished. Then
Yeah.
it's just enjoying fly
No,
and then building up experience. And then if you lucky enough to land a job straight out of your training, then it's just rewarding onwards.
Yeah. How many years have you been doing this for?
So I started in 2015 officially with the flying, and I got my commercial pilot's license in 2018, and I've been flying ever since.
Damn, that's a long time, eh? That's
Yes,
a long time.
so it's a long time, but I mean it's just the whole journey is very exciting.
Yeah, no. Tell me more about that. In terms of you busy, traveling the globe on a daily, weekly basis. Like, what are some of the most beautiful places or memories that you've experienced within being a pilot?
So I must say, some people probably think it's places like Mauritius or exotic destinations, but to me, close to heart is right here in Africa is Victoria Falls.
Wow.
They call it the smoke that thunders.
Yeah.
And that journey starts as you come into land at Victoria Falls Airport. You see the smoke of the waterfalls rising above the horizon, and then when you get there, it's just the pure. It's amazing seeing the Victoria Falls in.
Yeah, I guess for you guys, it's more about the scenery more than anything.
Yes, exactly, exactly. But I must say, Victoria Falls is one of the iconic places for me. Personally.
Yeah, so tell me, there's a rumor that I've heard. I've always wanted to ask this. I'm glad I'm sitting here with you right now. In terms of being a pilot, right? Parachutes. Let's talk the safety measures. I've heard that you guys are not allowed parachutes. You go down with your plane. Is that actually true?
Yes, no, exactly. Well, I would like to say that we get trained well enough to not let the aeroplane crash. But we would obviously go down with the aeroplane. But safety is, I must say, aviation over the years has actually evolved into a very, very safe industry.
Yeah.
Which I would say I feel more comfortable getting into the aeroplane than the car.
Wow.
To be honest. But
I mean things like, do you guys even, with us being motorists and all, being a driver, we get all these roadblocks everywhere. We're getting breathalyzed. Do you actually get breathalyzed before you go on a flight?
No, we don't. That's a personal thing, and also like a professional code that you just go on. So the law says 8 hours from the bottle to the throttle. that we
All
call
right,
it.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but my personal thing is 10 hours. So if
Oh
I go
yeah,
out the
yeah.
night before and I know I've got a flight the next day, it's normally about 10 hours before sign on.
All
So
right,
we
all
sign
right.
on an hour before the flight, but then
Yeah.
I won't consume any alcohol or whatever.
No,
So
definitely,
if I had
definitely.
to be breathalyzed,
Yeah.
I hope I'll pass.
Yeah, no, speaking more in terms of the safety precautions, and I mean, with you guys, it's like you said, it takes a long time to study with all the hard work put in. I guess it's a career that you never stop actually learning or studying. I mean, aviation, new technologies coming into play and all of that. So like, how do you handle all that pressure? Like,
Yes, the industry is very evolving in that sense of technology and new regulations. So we every year we go on a training course, flight safety,
hmm,
which is based in the UK, all over the world, but we specifically go to the UK, and then they put you in a flight simulator. It's a 4D full motion simulator with an international instructor, and they throw every imaginable
yeah,
situation and abnormal situations, emergency situations at you, and then you obviously learn how to react in those.
yeah,
So it's a more emergency situation becomes a normal situation for you.
all
It's
right,
not that unexpected. And
yeah,
then regarding the laws and regulations that change, we've got ample recurrent
mm,
courses that we do during the year
yeah.
to keep us up to date and informed if anything changes.
As we still sticking on to the whole safety precautions and everything, have you actually had a moment where the flight almost came down or anything? What is your most what has basically been your most adventurous moment up there in the air?
I must say, there okay, two situations or two flights come to mind. The first was we were taking off out of Windhoek, so it's in
Mm.
Namibia. So
Yeah,
one would
yeah.
generally think it's quite hot there, and you won't expect to get ice or anything. But we were
Okay.
taking off out of Windhoek, and as we climbed through the clouds, there was a cold layer. And as we went through those clouds, we thought, okay, it's hot here, so ice shouldn't form on the wings. And we didn't initially switch on the anti-ice systems,
Mm.
the systems that
Yeah,
clears the
yeah.
wing of any ice or prevents ice from forming. And so looking up over the shoulder to the wing, entering this layer of cloud, and we saw ice building up very
Oof.
rapidly. And I mean, switching on the systems immediately, and the
Was
ice
this a
didn't
commercial
clear.
flight?
Yeah, we had
Jeez.
some passengers on board. So obviously you try and stay calm and collected. So we switch on the anti-ice systems, and
Yeah,
then eventually, as we just kept on climbing
yeah,
and out of that layer, because that's what you want to do. You just want to get out of
yeah.
that icing layer, and eventually the systems kicked in as well, and the ice cleared. But it was actually quite surprising to see the ice build up so rapidly. And then the second one was we were on a flight from Mauritius to Durban.
Mm.
So it's about a 4 hour, 10-minute flight. And so we took off out of Mauritius and leaving the coastline of Mauritius and just blue ocean in front of you for miles on end. And so halfway through the flight, just coming over Madagascar, we encountered a very strong headwind. So that just it decreases your speed over the ground. So your
Sure.
flight time is longer because the wind hits the
Okay, yeah, yeah.
um, aircraft directly on the nose. So your flight time increases, fuel consumption increase. So we were sitting there and we were recalculating the fuel burn and
Yeah.
if we'll have enough fuel according to law to land in Durban. And eventually we established, okay, no, we're fine, we can press on. And as we hit, but like I said, it was clear skies. It was a beautiful day for flying. But then as we get to Durban, there's just on the weather radar of the aeroplane just pictures of storms all over the coastline. And so we start approaching to Durban and we just hit a wall of rain and thunder. And so we continue the approach. And as we were planning, we're talking,
Yeah.
Dale and myself, and saying, listen, okay, if we have to go around, where are we diverting to?
Sure.
And as we just finished that conversation, on the choice of going
Yeah.
around, the approach lights of the runway came
Right there.
visible.
Well,
And eventually we just landed safely. And yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean that just the change of weather.
No,
how
definitely.
drastically that
Yeah.
is. I think that is one scare that faces any pilot.
I guess at the end of the day, that's how it's designed, the way it's designed in terms of flights. I mean, you locked away in your cockpit. I wouldn't want to be seeing you guys panic, you know that?
No, exactly. Yeah, we always try to stay calm and collected. But
Yeah,
I mean, the training that we do, it helps. Um, just making, like
yeah,
I said
yeah.
previously, an abnormal situation makes it more normal
Exactly, exactly.
for you
Yeah.
guys.
With all this flight time, the training in between, and just traveling the world. I know you're a family man. Like, how do you balance the two? When do how do you work on balancing your work and your personal life? When you're always away and
So I like to spend quality time when I'm back home. So if you
yeah,
go on a long trip,
mm,
say a week or a couple of days, which is few and far between. Luckily, normally it's more like a 9 to 5 job. You go out
yeah,
the morning, you're back in the afternoon. But if those trips come along where you're away for 7 days, or it gets long and it's
mm,
not very pleasant.
yep, yep.
But when you get back, I like to spend quality time with
No, definitely.
family, and
Yeah.
that just makes it better.
Yeah, I suppose you also miss it as well. Obviously, when you're away, it's a family that you miss more. When you are literally with family, what are some of the things that you miss actually about your job?
No, I must say, every day going to work,
Mm.
flying, it's amazing. You can't describe to someone, because
Mm.
it's a passion that you've
Yeah.
got.
How would you
So
actually describe it being up there, actually being in control of this big machine? I mean, for myself, being in a flight already, it's such an amazing feeling. I can't even describe it just sitting there. But you as a pilot, it's
it's exhilarating. Honestly, it's um, if I have to describe it in one word, I think that's the best one
yeah,
to describe it. And yeah, if every time you take to the skies, it's just a new opportunity. And sometimes we actually see it as it might seem like, "Ugh, it's just another day," but if you actually think about how privileged you are
yeah.
doing that job, it's quite amazing.
Yeah, even so, with you as a pilot, I know, is there a strong sense of community in terms of pilots? Do you guys hang out, for a round of golf over the weekend? And
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's a very tight knit
mm,
industry,
okay,
and I think all of us, we share the same passion.
mm,
It's not just a job.
yeah,
So if you speak to a pilot and at a braai or at a get
mm,
together, it's quite easy to identify with them, and the conversations, it just
yeah,
evolves from there. It's normally just about aviation, but it's nice to have that
yeah,
point, that
yeah.
contact point to talk about. But yeah, it's a very tight knit
No, definitely,
industry.
definitely, definitely. And then plans for yourself. I know right now you are already doing private flights, commercial. Where are you headed? Where are you headed? What more do you feel that you still need to do? In the aviation sector.
No, I think I'm pretty set in where I am now.
Mm.
I'm not, the flying for the airlines. I don't think that's in my future,
Yeah,
immediate
yeah,
future now. But I'm very happy where I am now, and this is the most fun flying
yeah,
I think that you
yeah,
can have. The
yeah,
type we see different airports. We don't just fly to Cape Town and back, Cape Town and
yeah,
back.
yeah,
We see all different types of airport and meet different people, and I think
yeah.
that's what I enjoy a lot.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. So, what advice do you have for aspiring pilots out there, or anybody that wants to get into aviation? What tips can you give them?
I'd say hard work and determination. And if it's your passion, don't give up on a dream.
Mm.
If it's your dream to become a pilot or anything in aviation
Yeah.
related, just go for it 100%, and don't let anything stop your dreams.
Yeah. No. No. Definitely. Definitely. So, with your kids, are they also? I know you. Your dad was a pilot as well. Are they also going into that? Or
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I mean, all in all, it's a nice environment to be in,
yeah.
and if they pursue it, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
Might have to start saving now, because it is quite expensive. But I mean,
To
it's
go
like I
into
said,
that.
if
Yeah.
you've got the passion and if it's your dream,
Yeah.
nothing should stop you. Not financial
Yeah. Yeah.
difficulties or anything. You
No.
should just go
Definitely.
100%. So if they want to fly,
You
they're
know.
welcome. They
Just to
should.
touch into that, you're saying it's quite an expensive field of work to go into or study. With other careers, you will get your government funded institutions that will. Is there anything like that in terms of aviation?
Yes, there is, especially
Yeah.
South Africa. I might say there's a couple of programs that you can enroll with, but mostly, unfortunately, it's private.
Yeah. Yeah.
So private funding
All
and all
right.
that. But a
Right.
couple of, I mean, the Air Force South African Air Force. Actually, you can go through them.
Okay.
And there's a couple of TITA. They also have a course that provides government funding for aviation specifically.
No, definitely, definitely. So, what is a normal life for you? When you're not flying. With family. What is your? Just take us through a day in your life. When you're not up in the skies.
Nah, well, we like I said previously, I like to spend quality time with people when I'm not working, the people you love. So it would be having a braai in the evenings, playing board games with the wife and the kids, and I think that's
no, definitely quality time. I mean, you don't really get to spend time with us, the passengers there. We hardly see you guys pilots when we go into flights. So I don't think you. When you're out there in your work, you get to really communicate with a lot of people, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So that's what's nice about the type of flying that we do. The pilots that fly for the airlines, they sit up front there and they load 100 people, offload 100 people. Where we still interact with the passengers.
Yeah.
So when we'll get on board, we'll give them the briefing. We don't have any air stewardesses or hosties on board.
That's another way of him telling us he's flying private jets. So it's right. So it's right up there.
Yes, I must say that's very unique type of flying, and like I said, I enjoy working with people.
No, definitely.
So that fulfills one a lot.
Yeah. All right. Still touching on the advice that you can give for or aspiring people out there who want to get into aviation or become a pilot. Just take us through what are some of the costs. That go into aviation.
So initially, it's your training cost, which it's quite high. So to get a private pilot's license, that's if you want to fly for fun. So if you want to take your family out for a joyride, or if you want to buy your own aeroplane and fly it around, that's about 150,000 rand today to get your license. And then as you go on, you pay per flying hour. So previously I said you need 200 hours to get your commercial pilot's license. So after the 45 hours that you did, and 150,000 rand that you spend, then over and above that you pay per hour. So a commercial pilot's license will cost you about 500,000 rand.
Sure.
So it's quite expensive.
Wow.
Okay. So you are in for the long haul. So once committed, once you spend your 150,000, just continue.
Definitely. I mean,
yeah.
No, definitely. All right, since we still talking about the costs into being a pilot, just give us just an estimation in terms of flying overseas. What does it cost? What are the costs that go into it? Is it your fuel, your parking? What are all the costs that go into that?
So let's take a trip to Cape Town, for instance. Everybody likes going to Cape Town. So a flight to Cape Town in the jet will probably be about 360,000 rand to charter the jet.
Wow.
But in that cost, it's included your fuel, the crew, the maintenance of the aircraft, insurance of the aircraft, hangarage of that aircraft. So all your costs will be covered. And all in all, having an aeroplane, you want to run it to make money for you as well.
Yeah.
So it runs as a business. So there's a little bit of profit in as well. Those profit margins aren't huge, but it's just for the company to sustain itself.
No, definitely. And then in terms of I know with all... There's the landing strips, the parking, and everything. So, in terms of parking for the private jets, especially, do you guys actually pay for the parking? What are the costs that go into that?
Yeah, so that will normally be monthly fees that you pay if you belong to a FPO, which is called a fixed base operator. So that is a company who specializes in these private jets. So they will provide hangarage parking for you. So if you fly from here to Cape or from Lanseria to Cape Town, you leave from an FPO to an FPO. So you don't necessarily use the main apron. You've got a private facility, private lounge you go through, and same when you land in Cape Town. And then you park your jet in the hangar. So it's safe and secure and out of sight.
Obviously, costs that go into it as well. I mean, it's an expensive... it's a very expensive thing to go into. I mean, you can't exactly grab your plane and put it on the back of your buggy and take it home, park it at home.
No. You want to keep it in they call it hangars that you park the airplane in, and obviously it shields it from nature itself and any other dangers that might come to the airplane, damaging it or anything like that.
And then in terms of, since you are, mostly you mostly doing the private jets more than the commercial. I'm sure you've run into a lot of famous people out there. You know what I mean? I know you can't mention them right now, but how has that been? You
Yeah, I
know?
must say there's a couple of flights that we actually did with celebrities and very important people, the proper VIPs, as we all know them. So I must say that is very exciting. If you the morning you arrive for a flight and you see the passenger names,
Yeah.
and you've seen them in the movie credits or something like
Wow.
that. So that's quite cool, I must say.
Yeah. No, I'm sure the family enjoys it more because some of them are so private you can't tell anybody about it, but just the family, you know?
Exactly,
That-
exactly. And then sometimes they
Yeah.
and yourself have to sign a non-disclosure. But
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very exciting.
No, thank you so much, Taze, for joining us. It's been great. So you gave us a lot of insight into what it's like. So just the last question from us at Aero World. What is it like to be a pilot?
It is one of the most fulfilling jobs ever, I
Yeah.
must say. And being a professional pilot, it's something that if you go to work, it's not just
Mm,
a job.
yeah,
It's a passion that you're living out every single day.
definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much, Taze Smith. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us as we're chilling with Taze Smith. Join us next time for another episode of Aero World, What It's Like, where we'll be chilling with some of the most influential people in the country and some of your loved celebrities just to get an insight into their life and work. Adios.